Welcome to ChatGPT Projects for Marketing Operations. So, what we're going to be talking about today is a very fundamental component of ChatGPT called projects. And they're super powerful. You'll learn everything you wanted to know and maybe some things you didn't even care to know about how ChatGPT Projects works and how you can use it to grow businesses. Here's the problem with AI, right? Like there's three big problems with AI that all get solved when we introduce a concept called grounding. So the first problem is that whenever you fire up your AI, you keep having to explain to it over and over again what is going on. Like, what are you working on? Who are you selling to? What do you sell? What's this project you're doing? Like, what have you done already? Like, it's called the cold start problem because what happens is your AI doesn't remember anything. It doesn't have any saved information about what's going on in your business. So that's the first problem we need to solve because there's nothing more frustrating than continuously explaining over and over and over again what the heck's going on. The second one's called the boiled chicken problem. Boiled chicken problem is when you've given the AI something and it returns something back that is perfectly accurate and makes 100% sense, I guess, but is pretty much useless. For example, this cartoon right here that I put on LinkedIn a while back says the skill gap in AI isn't, it's not who's using the tools. Everybody is using AI, right, to grow their business. Everybody. So I said nearly every reasonable marketer and business person's using AI. The gap is between those that are using it and those that really understand how to use it, the people that are mastering it. Just like any other skill in business or whatever, there are people that are just sort of using the tool and there's people that are mastering the tool. And one of the best ways to know if you're mastering the tool is whether or not you're getting things that you can use out of your AI. Like, are you able to, use it? Is it driving business decisions? Are you able to create good strategic plans? Are you able to create content? Are you able to organize things? Is it allowing you to do more work in the same amount of time? If it's not, then you need more training. You need to get in here and really learn how to use these tools because all of that is possible. And this boiled chicken problem, this is kind of a joke down here, but it's not really. When it says ChatGPT told me to increase revenue by 500%, acquire more customers who pay you money. This is a little bit over the top in terms of the types of stuff we get back. But when you don't know how to use the tool, you get all kinds of stuff like this back where it's just basic, it's generic, it's not useful. And that's the boiled chicken problem. The last problem I call it the drunk uncle problem. Okay. So the drunk uncle problem is that your AI sometimes just goes off the rails. It forgets things, it hallucinates, it makes stuff up. Right. And that also gets solved today, okay, or at least partially, right? So, what if your AI knew your business? Like, what if it always understood the business? It had proven frameworks, it delivers consistent on brand results. And today we're going to be working with a proven framework. We're going to give it to the AI, we're going to save it. And then that AI is going to function off of that proven framework from here on out. So, why does this work? Like, what are we actually doing? And let's think about the mechanics of why ChatGPT projects and other parts of ChatGPT help us eliminate these problems and actually start to use the AI to get more done, to grow our business, and to do all those things. So, just really quickly, let me jump into ChatGPT and let's look at what I'm talking about here. So inside your ChatGPT account, there are a few different entities in your sidebar. There's something called projects right there. And there's something called GPTs here. And there's something called models. So different models, those are here. There are threads, right? So these, when I start talking here, I will start a thread with an AI. And then there are tools. And it's really these five different components of ChatGPT that they work together. And when they're working together, and when you understand how to work them together, you actually start to get master AI and start to use it in a way that will actually earn you more money this year. Let's go back into the slides and let's talk about the mechanics of what happens when we use a chat GPT project, or really many of the different things I just showed you, the tools, the GPTs, the projects, all of these things sort of work in concert. And what happens is when we create projects in the right way, we are doing something called grounding the AI. So, what is grounding? Grounding is when we anchor the AI's response in trusted sources, right? So, we take something and we tell that I want you to consider this primarily when you are formulating your response. So grounding looks kind of like this, where you've got your AI up here represented by this big part of the tree, and it sort of roots down into some source that you've provided it. Now, that source could be something like an attachment. So you could attach something to the AI thread while you're talking to it. And you could say, hey, go look at that attachment. And I want you to base your responses on using that as context to your responses. You could use web search. So let's take an example of this where I go into my website. So at the click, I have a membership. If you're in my membership, yeah, several of you in here are in my membership. Some of you are not. It's called the Click Pro. Now, if I take a page like this is a landing page for my Click Pro membership, can ground my AI using web search in this landing page. So I could take this page and I could say, okay, let me copy this URL right here and go back into my AI and I could say, reference this landing page when you respond to the following. And I could ask it anything I want about this page. Like I could start with examine the offer on this page and then build a slide by slide pitch deck that I can use when I'm selling. Now, I might want to, just to be sure that I get that web search, I might want to turn on the web search tool. That's not always necessary. A lot of times the AI just, it knows you gave it a URL, turn on the web search tool. If I want to be real careful, I could turn on that web search tool and I can run this AI and it goes and it searches the web and then it starts to build me a slide deck. If I asked the AI over over here in a new chat, I might just say, build me a slide by slide pitch deck for my AI marketing membership. It's going to try to do that. It's going to try to build me a slide deck. The problem is it's going to be garbage. Why is it going to be garbage? Because it has nothing it's grounded in. It's not grounded in anything. So I just get boiled chicken. I'm going to get a lot of hallucinations. It's going to make up a lot of stuff about what I do. This one, so the difference between these two is the same prompt. It's just that in this case, I'm grounded. And in this case, I'm not. So I didn't give it anything in this case. And it just gives me back a bunch of boiled chicken, the hidden cost. I mean, there's nothing wrong about these slides. But compare that to this, where it's like, here's the business. It actually created a nice subheadline, which is definitely on brand. And it goes through everything like, what do you get? And how does it work? And all of this is accurate. Well, how is it accurate? It's even pulled some testimonials. Let's see if any of those people are on this call. I don't see Thomas or Charlotte or Nikki on here. Wait a minute. Do I see Charlotte? It pulls all of this together and it says, all right, here's a little slide deck, right? And it's based on something, it's grounded in something. So that is an example of me grounding the AI into web search. Well, today I want to talk to you about grounding into what we call custom instruction right here. And I want to talk to you about it as it relates to projects. So we can ground an AI and save it so that we don't have to mess with it anymore, right? Like we can put information into the project that is there all the time. And what that does is it eliminates the cold start, it eliminates boiled chicken, and it eliminates the drunk uncle, or at least it helps, right? It is the full understanding of ChatGPT and other AI tools. So, this is going to take you a long way in starting to understand how AI works and other things that you could start to do to get a lot more impact out of it. And so, we're going to be talking specifically about projects today, and we're going to be talking specifically about custom instructions. What I want you to understand is that when you create a custom GPT, maybe you've created a custom GPT before. Go back into my ChatGPT account and just point these out. So these are GPTs, and they're all tools, right? So if I go in and explore GPTs, you'll find that I have several GPTs, and these GPTs can have instructions, right? So there's a tool that does um, project plans. There's a tool that formats things in a story. This is the Gain Logic Fear storyboard. I don't know if you've ever written a Gain Logic Fear email series, but Gain Logic Fear is a good email series. And this AI helps to write a Gain Logic Fear email series. This one writes bullets. So you can see that these tools, these are different little AI tools that I can use while I'm working. And when you build a GPT, it has instructions and it has knowledge. So you see here that I've given this GPT, it's called Draper. It's got a description that it writes in a high impact, emotionally charged voice. And then I give it instructions like how should this particular tool behave? Like what do I want it to do when I say, "Hey Draper, write something for me." I want Draper to follow these instructions. So GPTs have instructions and knowledge, and projects have instructions and knowledge. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about the interplay between projects and GPTs and how they can work together to just really ramp up your productivity and just do higher quality work as well. So if I go back into ChatGPT, again, just to point this out, there are projects and there are GPTs, and you can see there's chats down here. So these chats are any chats that are happening outside of any projects, just kind of get lined up down here. But what I will tell you is that when you're really mastering AI and ChatGPT, particularly, you're doing 99% of your work inside of a project. Like you wouldn't be working outside of a project. So let's talk about projects and how they work. So if I open my projects and I go into my marketing project, so anytime I'm working on marketing, I work inside of this project. Now, the first advantage that I get by working inside of a project is that it organizes all of my threads that are done in this project. So if I'm working on marketing and I open my marketing project, and I start up a thread and I start saying something like, I need to start working on generating some leads. What ideas do you have? So let's just do something like that. Now you can see that there's no cold start going on in here. This AI begins the conversation already knowing that I sell a $990 pro membership. I sell standalone courses at $990. I sell $5,000 plus team AI training. It knows what I sell. Uh, it knows other parts of my growth plan, like what kinds of marketing I already do. That I use it. It knows, for example, that I use a newsletter. It knows my persona, so it knows who I sell to. It knows there's again my persona. My persona is called Robin, and it knows the pain points of Robin, right? And so it's starting to immediately give me really good ideas right off the bat because I'm working inside of this marketing project. And by the end of today, I want you to have a project like this set up for yourself by the end of this hour, actually. Does that make sense? All right. So, what we want to do is we want to structure our AI in a way that it's always grounded. We don't want to be working in a place where an AI is ungrounded because if we do, we're going to get cold starts, we're going to get boiled chicken, and we're going to get drunk uncles, right? We're going to get hallucinations, we're going to get off the rails, we're going to get perfectly acceptably and generically written responses to things. We're going to have to explain ourselves over and over and over again because nothing's saved inside of here. So, all of these problems start to go away when you start to ground your AI, and particularly when you ground it and you save that information in the system so that every time you start it back up, it's just ready to go. It knows what you're doing, it knows what you're working on, it knows what's next, it knows who you're serving, it knows what you sell, it knows other things you've got going on. It's just got all of that context to ground itself into. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to install your maybe your first project, maybe your second project, maybe your 10th project. But I'm going to show you how to build this project and I'm going to give you the instructions for it. Okay. So I'm going to grab you a link and give you access to these instructions. And you'd think one of these days I'd learn to have this link handy. I will pop this in the chat for you, and then you just make a copy. So if you're watching this on the recording, you can just look below there in the description or underneath the video, and you want to download the assets for this training. I'm going to drop this into the chat so you guys can access it. And what you're accessing, the deck, this deck is in there if you want that. But the document you want is this assets document right here. So this document says assets, ChatGPT projects for marketing operations. And you want to go to file, make a copy. So if you make a copy of this, and it'll be on your computer in your drive, and you can do whatever you want with it. So if you click on that link, it should take you into a folder. You can open up this assets doc and you click on file, make a copy, and then you'll have your own copy. Now let's go through what's in this document. So the first thing I want to talk about is this project tab right here. There's a little overview here that shows you how to make a copy, and it asks you if you want to join my program, which is the Click Pro. If you do, I'll give you the link to that. So that's the Click Pro landing page. Some of you are Click Pro members, some of you are not. We would love to have you in there. But so you go to this project, and I want to go through what's in here because what this is going to be is it's going to be the instructions that your marketing project. So we're going to build your first project. It's going to be your marketing project in ChatGPT. And we're going to put as instructions for this project that you have a goal. And the goal of this project is to organize and implement tasks for the marketing department in your company or whatever company you're serving. You could build one of these for yourself, you build one for clients, or you could build one for the company that you work for, but build one. All right. So build a marketing project today, and I'll show you how easy it is to do this. So then you're going to go into your knowledge. You've got this section on the knowledge base, which says, hey, the marketing project references certain things that are uploaded, like offers and personas and marketing plans and things like that. So you should be aware. I'm basically telling the AI that when we're working inside this project, there's probably other documents that you could use in order to do your tasks. And then the last part of this is called the framework, which is just a customer journey framework. So this is a little bit jumbled here. If you look here, this is a little bit jumbled because it's so packed in here. But let me show you essentially what this framework is. Because this is a marketing project, I gave my marketing project a marketing framework, which is called the customer journey. So what that set of instructions contains is it contains a set of instructions about the customer journey and how to move customers through that customer journey to grow sales, to grow leads, to grow retention, to grow awareness, to grow traffic, all of that stuff. So, this set of instructions, this framework, it says the marketing department identifies business growth opportunities using the customer journey framework. Okay. So this set of instructions is going to be used for our marketing project. So what I want to do is I want to select all of this and I want to copy it. Now, before you do this, I want to give you a little bit of an understanding of something called markdown. Markdown. So this is not in that slide deck, but I popped this open because I want to teach you a little bit about this today. So markdown is a lightweight formatting language. And the reason I want to show you it is because AI tools love when you give them information in Markdown. So when you give a document to an AI that is formatted in Markdown, it understands it better. And I'll explain why as we go along here. So it's a lightweight formatting language that can be used and easily understood by an AI. So let's talk about the difference between rich text and markdown. Now, rich text is just a fancy way of saying formatting stuff the way that we've always formatted stuff. Like when you have a heading, it's bigger. The heading one is a little bit bigger than the heading two, which is a little bit bigger than the heading three. And when you look at it on a screen, you can say, okay, that's a main heading, that's a subheading, right? And then that's a subheading inside of that subheading, right? And it shows the nested information. And that's good because it helps us understand information is that there's headings. Well, in Markdown, we signify the structure of the document. When we want to say a heading one, we just put a pound sign in a heading one, and then we put 2 pound signs for a heading two and 3 pound signs for a heading three. Very simple markup language, and the AI really understands it well. If I look at this slide here, you've got rich text formatting, like this is a bolded word, right? And you and I know it's bolded because we see it. It's darker and thicker than these other lines. Well, in Markdown, we signify that something is bold by putting 2 asterisks on both sides. A bullet just has 1 asterisk, and that means that's a bullet. And the last example I want to show you is probably the most important one, is that when we give an AI a table, we really need to be using Markdown formatting because you can see how much different that table looks to our eyes versus this. So this is rich text. This is Markdown. So let me show you what happens when I take some rich text. So this is rich text formatted, right? We know that's a heading. We know because it's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit darker. And if I copy all of this, let's just copy this first part and I copy it. If I drop this into ChatGPT, let's just open a new tab here. If I drop this into ChatGPT, watch what happens. The formatting is gone. There is no formatting. It strips out the formatting. And that's not good. It's not good, particularly when you're using long sets of instructions. And that AI needs to see how those instructions are organized. It needs to be able to see that there's bullets here. It needs to be able to see that there's a main heading and a subheading, and that's how this document is organized. So how do we do this? Well, we use Markdown. We use this simple language called Markdown. And the way that you turn it on inside of Google Docs anyway is by going to Tools and then Preferences and clicking that button there, Enable Markdown. So if you have never done that before, if you've been on lots of my trainings, you probably have, but let's look at this in a live environment here. We go to Tools, we go to Preferences, and we just make sure that Markdown is enabled. And once you've done that, you'll find that you have a few different new options. For example, when you select a bunch of text and you want to copy it, you'll have a new option called copy as markdown. It's as simple as that. And when you copy this and you take it into ChatGPT this time, you're going to paste that in there and you can see that now I've got the structure of this in my prompt. Now, I just spent at least 5 minutes talking about Markdown, and I swear to you, I would not have wasted your time if I didn't think it was important. If you're going to be working with AI tools, it's good to understand just this base, just what I told you just now, the basic idea behind Markdown, why we use it, and how to use Google Docs to convert anything into Markdown. So you could take anything and turn it into Markdown. Now, Markdown also has a set of a file type. It's .md. So sort of like DOC or .xls or .ppt, which is a PowerPoint, of course. If I go to File and I go to download this document, I now have the option to download this as a Markdown file. And there's nothing scary about a Markdown file. It's just a text document. So I'm going to go ahead and export this as a Markdown file and I'm going to open it up. Now, honestly, I did not know anything about Markdown before AI, but now I understand the power of it because you can see that this big, long document here is now formatted in a way that an AI can understand it so much better. So, just a quick understanding of Markdown. So, let's now take this project marketing here, this project tab, and let's copy all of this. So, I'm going to click Command A on my Mac, and I'm going to right click and copy as Markdown. You could go to the edit here and copy as Markdown. And then I'm going to go back into ChatGPT. Now, what I'm going to do is let's just start a new chat here. So what I'm going to do, remember that we have EPTs, projects, and chats. We're going to create a project. So I'm going to click on projects and I'm going to click on new project, right? Like that. Now I'm going to call this marketing. And so anytime I'm going to do marketing from now on, I'm going to work inside of this project because it's got a set of instructions about how to think about the customer journey. And I think that's a great set of instructions to give an AI is to, hey, I want you to think about how I can grow my business using the customer journey framework. Now I can give it a little emoji if I want, I think, or a symbol. I think I usually use a little money sign for that. If you want, I'm going to click on this little gear button here. Now this little gear button right now allows you to change how the memory works inside of this project. So do I want this project to access my entire set of memories across my entire account, or do I want to seal this project into just this project? So you could almost think about your project being like its own little version of ChatGPT inside of your ChatGPT account. So it's like a little mini container inside of which no memories go outside and no memories come in. 99% of the time these days, I use project only memory just because I want to create these little sealed containers where the memories don't go out and they don't come back in. But let me give you some examples of when you would want this for sure. So, for example, I have a project in ChatGPT that is about nutrition and fitness, right? So, it's about how I'm doing with my exercise and my nutrition. And I don't really need the conversations and the context of what I talk about my nutrition and fitness project to bleed into my professional life. So I can create this sealed container and just say, okay, whenever I'm working on things or thinking about nutrition and fitness, and I want to ask questions or make plans or something, I can use my nutrition and fitness project. And whenever I'm working on marketing, I can use my marketing project. But this is another good use of this is if you have two businesses. So you're working on two businesses and you don't want your AI to get confused, you create two projects, right? Another example would be when you have clients, right? So you have three clients, you've got a project for client A, a project for client B. a project for client C. And this is how you would sort of seal that off. You could see how it would be useful not to have the AI thinking about your other client's products when you're trying to market this client or whatever, right? So we're going to click project only, and I'm going to click on create project. Cool. Now, I have now created a project. You can see that I already have a marketing project. I'll delete this one after we're done. Uh, but I'm going to keep setting this up with you. Now, the only benefit I get right now from this project is organization. So if I start to talk inside of this project, like I've done in this one for a long time, it's going to start to stack my threads up in here. So if you've ever had a problem where you're like, I don't know where that one thread is. Like I keep losing the thread. I lost this thread that I had 2 weeks ago or whatever. Like using projects that go a long way in helping you keep organized. So that's one reason to use projects. And it's the only benefit we are getting so far from this project. We aren't really eliminating the boiled chicken problem yet. We haven't eliminated the cold start problem yet. We haven't eliminated the drunk uncle problem, but we have at least built a project where we can keep our marketing threads organized. But let's take us a step further. So I'm going to go back into this folder here, and I'm going to go into this project here where these instructions are. I'm going to select everything and I'm going to copy it as Markdown. And I'm going to go back into my project here. So I've got that on my clipboard. And up here in the upper right, there's a little ellipsis menu. And I'm going to just click on that and go into the settings for the project. Now, the settings contain a few things. You've got the name of the project. You could change that. It's got instructions and it's got files. All right. And it has my memory setting, which I don't know why they even have this setting in here like this because you can't change it once you built the project. But I'm going to take the instructions that tell the AI, hey, you're a marketing, we're doing marketing in here, and we're doing marketing based on the framework of the customer journey. I'm going to drop those instructions in here in Markdown. Remember, I copied them as Markdown. So you look up through here, you can see that my Markdown got in there. So it's nice and structured. This AI will really understand this whole table and everything super well. And I'm going to save that set of instructions. Now we've gotten somewhere, right? Like we've gotten further here where not only when I go into my ChatGPT account, will I keep myself organized, but also this AI has a set of instructions as to how I want it to behave across all of my threads. So every thread that I use in here is grounded. Let's go back to this term grounding, right? It's grounded in custom instruction. So my AI has a source of truth, and that is the customer journey and the rest of the instructions that I gave my AI. So I'm going to go back into ChatGPT. Let's just play with this for a minute. You can see I have my project. So I'm in here and I'm just going to say, I need to work on the lead generation stage. How should I get started? So I can go in and ask a question like this because I've got a customer journey framework loaded in here. And so it's going to start running through that. It's going to be like, okay, yeah, well, here's some thoughts. Now, the problem here is that this is still pretty boiled chicken, right? These are all pretty good ideas, but not a lot of specificity to my business. So I'm going to go in here and just make two changes. I'm going to go into my assets folder here, and you can do this on your side and I'll do it on my side. But I'm just going to take this set of instructions and I'm going to add a couple of sentences to the top. I'm just going to say, let's call this the offer and persona section. And I'm going to keep this super simple. I'm going to say, let's just say I sell craft roasted coffee to busy corporate professionals. Now, that's not a lot. That's not a lot of information, but it's way more than that AI had in terms of context. Let's just see how this impacts my output. So I'm going to copy this markdown. I'm going to go back into my project here and I'm just going to update these instructions. So I'm going to go back into my project settings. I'm going to put the same set of instructions, but this time I'm going to add in just a little bit about what I sell and who I sell to. So I sell craft roasted coffee to busy corporate professionals. I don't actually do that, but I kind of like to. I want to kind of a coffee business. So I'm going to save this. And now I'm going to refresh this just to make sure that it hopefully got in there. If I say to it, I'm going to give it the same prompt. I need to work on the lead generation stage of the customer. Okay, so I have these saved instructions in here. What I'm expecting is to get a lot more specific about how I can grow leads because it now knows that I sell craft roasted coffee to busy professionals. And yeah, I mean, I'm getting a lot better and more specific outputs here. I'm not getting the boiled chicken that I was getting before. I'm getting a little bit better output here. It's, because it knows, like I sell coffee to busy professionals. I didn't give it a lot of information, but I gave it two critical, minuscule pieces of information. I think I added 8 words in there. Now, the reason I bring this up is because there is no more important information to ground your AI into than your offer and your persona. The difference between how your AI will perform when it understands your offer and your persona and the way it will perform when it doesn't understand your offer and your persona is night and day. It's the difference between getting great output and just blah, boiled chicken, a lot of times hallucinations, all kinds of things because it doesn't know what you're trying to do. So even just 8 words where I say I sell coffee to busy professionals. I don't know how many words that is. Is that 8? So let me show you how my marketing project is structured and what I encourage you to do with your marketing project. So if I go back over here and I go into my marketing project, which is this one, there are instructions here, and they are literally the same instructions that you put in there. Same instructions that you put in your GPT or in your project is the same ones I have here. The difference between yours and mine is that I have a persona document, and you can see I downloaded that as a little markdown file. If you really are allergic to this idea of markdown and just super non-technical, you could just use a PDF. Just use a PDF file. It's fine. I have 2 personas in here and I have 2 offers in here. These are 2 different things that I sell and 2 different personas that I sell to. And then the other document I put in here is just a little bit of information about how I am planning to grow this business in 2026. That is also held inside of my marketing project. Makes sense, right? Like, why not put my strategic plan in here? Now, you don't have to create all of this stuff, but I would tell you that if you want to really start using AI, build a marketing project, use those instructions, and then write 2 sentences or 1 sentence, 8 words about what you sell and who you sell to. I sell coffee to busy professionals. Just that will massively increase your output. But if you want to go the next step, you would want to create a document that really outlines your offer. Let me show you mine. Now, don't get freaked out by this document. It's got a whole bunch of stuff. But here's the offer for the Click Pro membership. That's my membership. And it has a quick snapshot of the pricing, the model, a little bit on the persona. I don't need a lot on the persona in this document because I have another document that contains the persona information. That's this document. And there's no right or wrong way to do a persona. However, in the Click Pro, we have a very specific way that we set up a persona. where we have pain points and some different stuff set up like this in our this is from our growth OS training. But anything you could see how any kind of input about your persona, just say busy corporate professionals, and that's going to go a long way. If you want to take it another level, then you can get more and more detailed with who you're trying to serve, what their pain points are, et cetera. But you can also see here that even a little bit of information, like what you sell and how much it costs, that's that's a lot more than the AI knows, right? The AI doesn't know what you sell. It doesn't know who you sell to. So you can see mine's not that long. It's just a little bit of information about my offer, just the right amount that this is what it needs to know in order to help me market this business. Does that make sense? Are you picking up what I'm throwing down? Are you seeing how now when I work inside of my marketing project, that I can do all kinds of cool stuff because I got an AI that understands the customer journey. It's been trained on that framework and its instruction. It knows who I sell to. It knows multiple things that I sell. It knows my personas. It knows what I'm working on. And so I could just jump in here and I can get started working. That eliminates the cold start, right? I don't have to tell it what I sell. I can jump in here and I can get really very helpful and useful output from the AI. So it eliminates the boiled chicken problem. And because I'm so grounded into so many different sources, you're going to see almost no hallucinations. Like you're not going to see a ton of hallucination because it's working off of your sources, the things that you control. So give you a couple examples of how I use the marketing project. You can see that here's me building a landing page. And so sitting in here working away, and because I'm inside of this project, I'm working inside of this project, I am grounded in my persona. I'm grounded in the offer. I'm grounded in the instructions throughout the customer journey. And I can do a lot of things in here. You can see how long I've worked in here, just working on which page was I working on with this? This is the Click Pro. So this is the page that I showed you. This is this page here. When I went to build this page and writing the copy and just getting things organized. I was working inside of that. Yeah, I was working inside of this thread, and that thread was super grounded. So let me see what the very first thing I said to this AI was. This thread. You can see here it says, okay, this is me on whoever knows what day this would have been. This was at least a month or two ago. Okay, let's work on the Click Pro page. Take a scrolling full page screenshot of the page here. I don't think it was able to do that. I think I was testing to see if it could do that. It wasn't able to do that. It said I can't generate a literal scrolling screenshot image. I think I had heard somebody tell me that ChatGPT could take screenshots for you, but it didn't. So it was like, I can't do that, but how about this? This was the old page that I gave it. I said, okay, put the contents of this into a canvas. So then it pushed it over into here so I could start to work on this and read through it. But you can see it, I don't have to explain to it what the Click Pro is. I don't have to explain to it who my persona is. I can just jump in here and start working. So I literally build threads, and you can see I'm using a little bit of a naming convention here to make sure that it knows that I'm working on a page. Here I'm working on a promo. So this is the promo for this training, which is now available to all Click Pro members. So this training on building email newsletters that increase leads and sales with AI. This product is now available in the Click Pro. And when I went to build this page, or I'm sorry, the promo, I was working inside of this promo thread. And again, let's go and look and see what the very first thing is. There's not going to be a cold start in here. I can tell you that. I said, okay, it's time to, you can see I always open with okay. Okay, it's time to create the email promo for this page. So this is just the email promotion. Let's start by outlining the offer that is being made on this page. I remember that this training is part of the Click Pro and includes Growth OS for ChatGPT. I investigate this page and tell me what you find. So I gave it a page to ground into. It said, okay, I checked the URL, and you can see that I'm just off to the races here with really, really fantastic output. Why? because I'm grounded. I'm grounded in a project. I grounded the AI in that link right there, the web search link. So this is how you go about, you know, when I say that everybody's already using AI, there is no advantage there. It's just that some of us know how to use it and some of us don't. And I think hopefully over the last 53 minutes, you've gotten a good idea of it, kind of getting the hang of this idea that this is about structure. It's about giving the AI the information that it needs to do its job. And yeah, just structuring your account in the right way. When I talk about the Click Pro and I say install the business growth operating system built for ChatGPT, that is our growth OS training. And it is about structuring your entire account in order to do business work. So, AI is a general purpose technology. It was not built for business. It wasn't built for science. It wasn't built for education or any other specific purpose. It's a general purpose technology like electricity, right? Electricity can be used anywhere and it is used anywhere. You need training to do this as a professional. So that's why the Click Pro exists. It exists to help you learn how to do business growth work. So everything we do is at the intersection of marketing and AI. I hope you'll join us. If you want to check it out, go to click.ai/pro. All right, let's see if there's any questions coming in here. So Kim says, how do you copy a Word doc into Markdown? I haven't used Microsoft Word in a long time. Like I'm going on 5 years without even having an Office subscription or whatever you have to have anymore. But I would just, try to Google around on that and look it up. I'm sure. And the worst thing that could happen would be that you would copy the Word doc, paste it into Google Docs, and then just do what I did, which is to use the Google Docs version of it. How do you move external chats into projects? Okay, good idea. So if you have external chats like these down here, right? So you can see that some these chats are not part of any project, but if I select one and I want to move it to a project, just click that little ellipsis and I can have that added to any one of my project. I can just pop it in there. Good question, Kip. If you have other questions, pop them in. You can upload it to Google Docs and then switch to it from there. That's another good idea for the Word doc. Absolutely. You can just, yeah. The Markdown thing, listen, I hate that I have to talk about Markdown because it's really boring, but it's a pro tip. I'm telling you that it's a pro tip. Like, if you're going to be working a lot with AI, get comfortable with Markdown because it's useful. Darius says, any suggestions how to build effective personas? So this is an example of when I would use your AI, like tell it what you're trying to do. This is the persona I'm trying to build. Even if you give it just a little bit of information, like let's just go over here into my marketing flow. I would do this inside your marketing project, like do this inside your marketing. So I might say, now this project already knows, like they already know that I have different personas. So I've got this entrepreneur persona and I had this marketing leader persona. And so just talking to the AI, I can say stuff like, I'm thinking of building a new persona. Yeah, an e-commerce store owner. I might say something like, do you understand? I like to say that, do you understand? Because I don't want it to go build the persona right now. Do you know how sometimes the AI just runs off and does the whole job for you? And it did run off a little bit on me, even though I did say, "Do you understand?" And you can see here it's asking me some clarifying questions, but you can ask it things like, "Can you walk me through this? Can you help me?" But I'm telling you that, Darius, there is no wrong way to build a persona. Even if your persona was literally even if your persona and offer information was literally just what I had in there, 8 words, that's great. That's a start, right? But the other thing I'll tell you, Darius, and everybody else is that one of the best ways to build anything in AI is to use a model. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to paste in here. I'm going to give you my Robin persona. I'll just copy this and I'll put it into your assets down here. These other two I use in another training that I do on custom GPTs, but let's call this persona. So if you're in here and you want to grab this, so here's my persona. Now you might be saying like, well, what are you giving me your persona for? I don't want to try to reach your persona. That's not the point. The point is you want to take this persona, copy it, paste it to the AI and say, I want to build another persona. And here's everything I can think of about it. Just brain dump as much as you can about it and say, I want you to use this as a model, right? Like this is the type of persona, this is the structure of the persona. So it's not going to use Robin as your persona. It's going to take what information you give it. So let's just say you're able to brain dump for like 2 minutes about, who you're trying to reach, or even if you just say a couple of words about what and give it some direction and then give it my persona as the model and say, build one exactly like this, but instead do it for this persona. That will work. It's a hack. It's an easy way to get an AI to do something you want it to do is by giving it an example, give it a model, and then let it run. So you can take mine and use it, or you can just use it as is if you want. I'll share that link one more time. Somebody was wanting it, but I'm glad you guys came, spent some time with me today. I know your time's super valuable and I never take it for granted. For those of you in the Click Pro, I will see you tomorrow for office hours. And for the rest of you, I hope to see you on another one of our free trainings soon. We do them every Wednesday at this time. So I hope to see you again. I will share this link again before I drop off here. And again, if you're watching the recording, just look underneath the video or look in the description and you will find something that says something about the assets. All right. So, download the assets or something like that underneath the video or in the description. All right, guys. Good to see you. Have a good rest of your day. Bye, guys.